this video, we're going to take a look at relative frequencies, particularly in a set of data, and interpret what their meanings are. First, to start off with frequency. Frequency is the number of times a particular outcome occurs in an event. And the reason that I connect this with the chapter 6 on probability is that frequency can be seen connected to probability, in that if I have, say, 20 outcomes and I want to know the frequency of outcome number 5 occurring, it's the same as the probability of event number 5 occurring. Below is a frequency distribution table showing the grades students received on an assignment for a course offered at 2 different times. Create a relative frequency distribution for each class. So on the left, I can see that a class was offered at 10 a.m. and at 1 p.m. And then I have recorded the number of outcomes that a student in the 10 a.m. class got an A, B, C, D, or F, and likewise in the 1 p.m. class. Before we start our relative frequency table, we need to find out the total number of students in each class. We do that by adding the number of outcomes, or the number of frequencies. So for the 10 a.m. class, there were 20 students. In the 1 p.m. class, there were 25 students. So this table on the left, remember, is a frequency distribution. The 5, 4, 7, 2, and 2 are known as frequencies. Now we're going to come over and create a relative frequency table. When we do that, we take the frequency for an A and divide it by the number of students, or the total frequencies. I take 5 and divide it by 20, and I arrive at 0.25. Then I take 4 and divide it by 20 to get 0.2, or 0.20 if you wish. 0.35, 0.10, and 0.10. For the 1 p.m. class, there are a total of 25 frequencies, or 25 total outcomes. 6 divided by 25 is 0.24. 9 divided by 25 is 0.36. If we were to add the relative frequencies all the way down in each of these columns, it should total to 1, just like with probabilities. Yes, that checks to 1, and the second column checks to 1. A relative frequency table can actually have more use than a frequency table. In a relative frequency table, everything is a percentage. So because everything is a percentage, we can compare similar items together. Earlier in the frequency table, when we saw 5 people got an A in the 10 a.m. class, 5 out of 20, well, that's different than when we compare 6 to 25. And when we change them to relative frequencies, we can see that 25% is a little bit more than 24%. So we can say the chance of getting an A is a little bit higher in the 10 a.m. class, but the chance of getting a B compared to the 10 a.m. class, the 1 p.m. class, is a lot higher. The chance of getting a C in the 10 a.m. class is a bit higher than in the 1 p.m. class. Now let's take a look at adding some of these relative frequencies together. The relative frequencies for students that are passing the class would be the A, B, and C. And in the 10 a.m. class, that adds to 80%. In the 1 p.m. class, that adds to 0.84. So you have an 84% chance of passing the class in the 1 p.m. class. When we look at the frequencies and add these together, we would have 21 students passing the class in the 1 p.m. class versus in the 10 a.m. where there are 16. So it looks like you really are going to pass a class if you are in the 1 p.m. class. But when you look at it in terms of relative frequencies, you have an equal likely chance, a little bit higher, to pass in the 1 p.m. class.